Welcome to Old New Borrow Blue, the Blue Room podcast that looks at the things we love about this thing of ours called Everton. Each episode, I speak to an Evertonian about their favourite former player, current player, player they'd have loved to have seen at Everton, and the favourite Evertonian or the favourite thing about Everton. Old New Borrow Blue. I'm made up to be joined this week by Peter Coyle, artist, Liverpool music legend, and top Toffee. Pete, before we get into the football stuff, I'd love to talk a little bit about your art and your music and the journey you've been on, because I guess it spans 5 decades or so now.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Well, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's just all I've ever done. So I've been very lucky. I'm very, very lucky. You know,
Yeah, and
I would have liked to have been a professional footballer, but I wasn't tough enough.
what position?
Well, I was like my dad actually. I played all over the pitch. I started off up front mainly, but because I was fast. But as I got older, I kind of moved back.
Yeah,
And I actually, I really enjoyed playing centre back sweeper. Actually, as I
yeah,
was older, I really enjoyed it because it was fun. But
yeah.
I've played more or less in every single position, left and right, because I played left wing and right wing.
Good stuff. Yeah, I used to play left back even though I'm right footed. That was
Yeah.
only because the right back in the school team was much better than me, so I couldn't play left back. Um, yeah, so you started like musically, it would have been around the late 70s, early 80s in Liverpool. That must have been some time to be involved and around that scene with so many musicians and artists knocking about.
Well, yeah, it was brilliant, really, because you know, uh, Pete Wiley lived down the road, and his brothers were proper fussy players. They were good.
Oh, right, okay.
Gary and Phil, both good football players, and yeah, like it was an exciting time because the fact that like so I knew that Pete Wiley had released something. Ian McCulloch went to Allsop School, which was literally Walton Village, just around
Yeah.
the corner, and yeah, there was a lot of. Um, I mean, there was a lad called Rob who was what was his second name? But anyway, he was a big influence because he was a bass player, but dead musical, and he was mates with him. In fact, what they called the Crucial Three:
Oh,
Pete
yeah.
Wi- Pete Wiley, uh, Julian, and Ian McCulloch. Well, it was Rob who was in their band as well. It wasn't
All
just,
right, okay.
and he practiced at his house, and he was like, yeah, he was mega and so talented really, and it was just great to see, just basically people that you knew firsthand, and you saw it and you thought, well, hold on a minute, I'm gonna have a go at that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a go at that, and so. I was because basically the first time I ever did a gig, I knew then that the literally first gig, I knew then I'm not doing it. I'm not going to university. I'm doing music, stuffy.
Was was punk a big influence on that? Obviously not the sound necessarily, but the do it yourself, like right, anyone can do this. Was that a big influence as well?
Well, it's really funny because in a way it was just poverty, because because well, no, poverty is that's too strong a word, but not having enough cash for gear,
Yeah,
and so like I came from the prog rock, so I liked Genesis and Yes
yeah.
and King Crimson and all these people and Alice Cooper and David Bowie. All these people were my heroes, and but like the first banders and all we did was jam. But it was Gary McCulloch was the played the guitar, but he was left-handed, so we played a right-handed guitar. Where it's so we played the bass on that. My mate had a kind of a. He actually had a guitar. Steve Compson, he had a guitar, and I would just sing in the corner. But we just jam.
Yeah.
Um, but it wasn't. I mean, the punkiest thing we had was Relics by Pink Floyd, and so that was cool. But really, it was sorry before punk was just coming through as we were picking up our instruments
Yeah.
and getting. But for me, it was Susan the Banshees and Magazine that were the real deal for me, because I played those records. Well, the grooves on those records were worn out, and the Gary
Yeah.
Newman grooves.
Magazine are great, only that was Hal Devoto, wasn't it, from Buzzcocks?
Yeah,
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 Magazine are brilliant.
genius,
Yeah.
and the Buzzcocks. What one of the greatest pop tunes ever fallen in love.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. It's so mad just how much. I mean, it seems a weird thing to say how much music was about, but there was so much good music, like coming from not underground, but not sort of manufactured as it is today. Let's say it just felt organic. It grew.
Well, yeah, it was organic and it was fresh, and everyone was like on it. We were all on it. Everyone, like sort of, we were all in the everyman, and then a sort of later on that was, and we'd be like sort of, uh, uh, you know, everyone was in a band,
Yeah,
and everyone was doing, doing stuff and getting stuff made, and it was, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all.
yeah,
You couldn't get records made. I mean, China Christ has got African and White made, but I mean that was because I've forgotten his name, but the lad who owned Amazon, he gave them studio time and produced them. You know
okay,
what I mean? So, but getting in a studio was a big deal. So with Pete Wiley's You Better Scream, what a tune,
yeah,
what a tune. Well, with You Better Scream, I mean, that was recorded in a little studio. And again, that was his mate who but like, I love that recording because it's quite raw. It's almost mono. It's
yeah,
old fashioned. It's just, it's captured a moment, and that's what's great about music. And I know technology is amazing, but it's still old fashioned in a sense. It's got to be about capturing a moment. If you're not, if you, if you haven't got the feeling inside, it doesn't matter how good your gear is. It's not happening.
yeah, yeah. It's got to have that soul about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So just want to pick up obviously on the first pitch. It's like the record that people might know you
yeah,
best from,
yeah.
and one of my
No,
favorite records as a kid, and
oh,
still
thanks.
is. When you recorded that or when you wrote it, did you think we've got a hit here? Could you
No,
tell? You
no.
just didn't know.
Well, the only reason this shows you how clueless I am. The only reason I agreed to release that as the first one is because it had, in my head, it had no chance,
Oh right,
because
okay.
it was too weird. You see, how can I put it? How can I put it? I, even though I wrote it, I forgot the summer thing. Because that's why I wrote it. Because I wrote it in winter to
Yeah,
sort of feel warm because it was freezing, and and but yeah, because it was a dead long intro, it was a really, you know, there was nothing like it. It still isn't,
yeah,
and so I just thought it was way too weird to even have any chance, because everything was very rigid and strict. But for some reason, it happened. It just happened, and very very grateful for that, actually. It's just because it means a lot to a lot of people,
yeah,
and that's the greatest gift to any musician.
yeah. I guess so. Yeah, when you can resonate and like touch that many people's lives with it, that must be like a lovely thing. And it is
Yeah,
such a lovely song as well. It's like as soon as springtime comes, it goes on repeat, and
great.
that's it then for like the next 6 months. What
That's
song did you
nice.
want to release off the album first then? If not
Well,
that.
I would have liked something like German Girl.
Yeah, I was
um
thinking that seems the most obvious one to release.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but again, that I wanted to release that second, but the thingy wouldn't, the A&R man wouldn't let me, because he said, what was he said? What did he say? He said, "What's the girl in Wigan gonna think about you singing a song called?" And I'm like, I just, but basically, you know, most of my time spent on another planet. I just don't get planet Earth. Just don't get it. It's
It's one of the
just,
weirder ones, to be fair, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
definitely.
It is. But I mean, they were all weird. It was a weird album. It was very innovative and unusual, but very, um, listenable.
Oh, it's a
And
great album.
but a lot of people found that difficult, because see, for us, right, the most revolutionary thing we could do because of punk was like, right, well, we've got to go the other way.
Yeah,
We've got to go as literally almost Joni Mitchell. We had to, because punk blew the whole thing wide open. So the most wildest thing we could do is pick up an acoustic guitar and go soft. Because
yeah.
I was in a band before that called the Jazz Babies, where I was just doing me Peter Hamill impressions and just going mad.
You did go a little bit harder just after. So I stumbled across a slap in the face for public taste, which
Oh
I'd
yeah,
never heard before, and you can't get it anywhere, I don't think.
no.
But yeah, I stumbled across that. So was that just a little bit like, oh well, I've done that. I'll go the other way now. It
Well,
sort
yeah,
of got me into like a Russian futurist rabbit hole, like this whole thing. So
yeah, because I just with slap in the face, the Lotus had just split up, and so I went back to my roots because I was thinking of packing in music, and
okay,
me mate bought me a port studio, and basically I just recorded this really dark album, but
yeah,
it's I'm so basically saved me that album, saved me.
okay,
It's
yeah,
good because it's just but I think it was a triple album initially, but but it's dark and out there. There's no doubt about that. I felt guilty. In fact, I felt so guilty making it that I went in literally after a month and recorded another album called "I'd Sacrifice Eight Orgasms" with Shirley MacLaine, and that was going to be a big party funkadelic album to
yeah.
kind of be all up and happy to kind of like make up for the sheer dark, depressed sort
Did
of blackness.
did it feel cathartic doing it though? Did you feel like you had to like get that out your system? Or
Uh, yeah, I mean, it was good for me to just be honest.
yeah,
But again, the Catholic boy in me, I felt guilty being honest because, I feel like you've got to protect people. They don't need to know stuff. They can just, if they're happy, let them be happy.
yeah,
You know, don't bring them down for God's sake. Let them shine and let them be happy. And they don't need to know all stuff.
yeah. I think everywhere would be a bit better if more people thought like that, wouldn't it? To be
Yeah,
honest, there's,
yeah,
yeah, there's too many people too happy to bring other people down.
yeah.
Just quickly before we get onto the Everton stuff, then we'll go more up to date with Peter Cole Fractal. I didn't get onto this. I'm sad to say until you tweeted why you're hustling the other week.
Oh yeah.
And I heard that I didn't know been doing this stuff for a few years now, and I've gone back and I love it. It's great. Could
Oh
you? So you got two albums. You got a new single coming out next month,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. So for anyone who isn't familiar with it, can you just give a quick sort of appraisal of what Peter Coyle Fractal is? Because you've done stuff with Martin Ware as well. It's quite dancey in parts, isn't it, as well? So and I know that's a big part of history as well, dance music. So
Yeah, I mean, well basically, I did the piece called Fractal bit because I've done so much stuff that I don't even know what I've done because I've
right.
collaborated with so many different people and I've had so many different names. I was getting confused, so I thought I'll do Peter called Fractal, so it's all underneath that umbrella from now
Yeah.
on. And with the kind of you know, um, I'm very naive. I'm 62, I think. Yeah, 62. But I'm still a dreamer, and I think if the song's mega, the
Yeah.
song's mega. So I really don't care if it's listened to. I now and again I'll go on Spotify and see like Drake's got like 4 billion listeners, and and I can't even get like 34 listeners or whatever. But it's just like it's a game. It's all a game about having likes and having um, business really. Now,
Yeah.
business is important, but also it's important to just. I'm not going to be around for long, and so it's important to just lay down your store and just say your stall, and this is me. This is who I am. This is what I do, and whether you like it or not, it's happening. Because that's that's what I admire. That's what that's what drives me, and that's obviously I'd love a career, but the important thing is to actually be real and write something special every day. I wake up and I want to write something that you know touches people in the right way and makes them want to move forward.
Yeah, I think you've certainly done that anyway. So whatever you do, you've written stuff that has touched people. I can
Oh,
say that from personal experience.
bless you.
So
Thank you.
yes, that must be such a lovely feeling to know that the art you're creating is like really resonating with people. And it's like I'm not musical in the slightest, but I imagine as a musician, whether you get a message across to one person or a million people, just being that one person who listens and thinks, "I love that." That makes it worthwhile.
That's all that counts. That's the only
Yeah,
currency there is. That's the only currency there is. The rest is just, you know, bull. It's just there's because and also there's a lot to be said for having free time to get some work done, because all that matters is the work.
yeah,
You can you know um, being famous is a nightmare. I can assure and not enough people talk about it, but it's an absolute nightmare because you can't get any work done. You've got to get your hair done and all this nonsense. It's just
yeah.
ridiculous.
You've got bookings here, there, and everywhere, and you just got to do
Yeah,
all that. Do you know what? I think it's like in my job to a degree where people ask you to do PowerPoint presentations and spreadsheets. It's like I just want to do my work. I just want to write something. It's like no, you're gonna do this presentation. It's like it's just a distraction, isn't it?
yeah,
Right, I guess we've got to talk about Everton.
cool,
It's for like
lovely.
15 minutes. And
Yeah,
quickly before we did, on your SoundCloud, you've got a song called Goodison Park.
yeah,
It wasn't what I was expecting at all. It's a lovely song, and it's not my experience of Goodison Park at all, but it is a
yeah.
great piece. What was the inspiration apart from Goodison Park?
Well,
And also sort of on that, what do you think about leaving? Will you be getting across to see a game before we go, or
oh God. I don't know if I could cope if I did. To be honest, it'd be a bit too emotional for me. But for me, right. So first of all, I couldn't sing on that song because it'd just be tacky. But how can I put this? So when I was a kid, I'd be in my kitchen and you'd hear the roar of the crowd. You'd hear it, and how can it just meant so much.
yeah,
It just meant so much, and it was just so magical, and so it was and so for me, so you're in a kitchen and it's quiet, and then you just hear this huge blue roar, and that's what that song, and also that kind of thing, where I used to walk to the ground, and that just there was just a love. Well, it was earlier on, so it was just a calmness to going. It was
yeah,
like it's like okay, hopefully it'll be a good day and we'll have a good result, but also it's like how lucky is it to be able to have some free time and go to the match and just switch off and see some footy, you know.
yeah. I think that's something a lot of people take for granted now, isn't it? Because like it feels like, I mean, doing this podcast, it feels like we do nothing but moan a lot of the time. And we should sort of reflect and think, you know what, we are lucky to actually be able to go and see this.
Well, that's a really good point because I mean, I don't want to. I've got a lot of mates, really good mates, in blues, and they never see the positive,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know, like, um, it's just absolutely shocking. So no matter who the manager is, he's never good enough. It's like, they've all, yeah, it's just like got the, and I'm looking at them thinking, hold on a minute. Well, I that's my way. I see the positives and things. Obviously, when you see the negatives and things, you've got to state them. But yeah, that's the easy. I think it's the easy touch to moan.
Yeah.
I think it's the easy option. I think you've got to get well, you've got to get committed, and because I kick every single, even and I'm watching the match here, I'm kicking every ball, I'm heading, I'm horrible. You don't want to watch the match with
I know
me.
exactly what you mean.
You don't want to watch the match with me. I'm horrible.
It does turn you into a different person, doesn't it? I'm exactly the same.
Well,
Football just turns me into a completely different person.
you see, for me, it was an escape because on the footy pitch, I could actually be I could actually be me, well, not be me, but be the part of me that wasn't, that couldn't exist outside the footy pitch.
Yeah.
So it was just, I got a free pass and a free reign, and I loved it. I loved it because you'd be on the footy, you'd be playing, and they'd say something like "Mark the smackhead," and I just think, right, I'm having you. You've lost the game now. You've lost the game,
Yeah.
and they never ever got it. They just, I don't know what it is about it, but for me, football was always a kind of a getting back, and sort of fighting back, and more often than not winning.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of those battles are won in the head as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
Before you even kick a ball. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely. Right, let's get on to these players. So your old player. So this is your favourite Everton player from the past. A good choice. No one has picked this player yet, which is quite surprising, really. I don't think he gets enough credit for the time he
Well,
was at the club. So the player is,
Graham Stewart.
yeah,
Graham Stewart, and because now he wasn't the best player we've ever had. However, for me, he's one of the most important players that we've ever had, because I personally think he saved us that season, with the game against Wimbledon, basically.
94, yeah, 93,
Yeah,
94 season, yeah.
because um, um, obviously we were in serious danger, and that's when I did that me T-shirt. The for better for worse. That was
Oh,
me.
yeah, yeah.
That was me who did those
Oh, I
T-shirts.
didn't know that. The Women's Guys
Yeah,
are Grey one today.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but I did it before. They took it off me, but I did it before them,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and that was my T-shirt, and I basically did it because, like, basically it was a thing that even if you go down, it's not going to change a thing. I'm still a blue, and I'll
Yeah.
always be blue. But but with Graham Stewart, I mean, so like when Limpar handled the ball, you know, I'm at the game. So I get up in the morning and I can't look at the sky, because if I see a magpie, that's it. So I was living in town then, and so I went to the match literally with my head down, and I'm just, um, and the noise in the crowd, the kind of the importance, and it was just so weird because the kind of it was a weird match, because it was obvious that it was absolutely crucial, but as soon as Limpar handled the ball, Wimbledon were in. They,
Yeah.
and they
They were a
thought
good side as well at the time.
they were, and they thought they had it, and in a way, they almost did. If it wasn't for that, first of all, to take a penalty, you know,
I don't think that's talked about enough. People talk about pressure penalties. A 2-0 down. If he misses that, we go down. It's it's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, but not only that, the penalty was, you couldn't have taken them. It was right in the side netting.
Yeah,
It was, and it took the goalie the wrong way. I mean, the pressure and the skill to do that was just immense. I mean,
yeah.
I would give him the keys of the city for that. Did that just that one thing? But it wasn't just that. It was then saving the ball off the line for fortunately when it hit. So it hit his chest. It then hit Neville Southall's head, I think, and fortunately hit the
Oh
post.
God, yeah, I forgot about that scramble. I blocked that out. Yeah.
Well, of course you blocked it out because of PTSD or whatever it's called. Well, I mean, because we all went through it all. It was that game was horrific for all of us in many ways, and and then you know, it's just like it. It's just beyond. Just beyond. And then when Barry Horn again, when he just took it. It was weird because it was like he just came to life. He was on the halfway line and he literally, something happened. It was one of these iconic moments because he wasn't known for his movements, but
No.
but that one moment he anticipated, and as soon as that ball left his foot, I'm pretty sure I was the first one in the upper Bullens to go rise up because you could see it was going, and thank God it did. And what a goal!
Yeah.
What a goal! You know,
I don't think
and
anyone knew he had that in him.
well, he didn't really.
No.
He did because he did. You know, he bless him. I mean, he was a good solid player, but that was his peak.
Yeah.
That was his absolute peak, and what a moment for it to come together. When he and the likes, just because all of those players, the Johnny Ebrels, who I adored,
Yeah.
honest, proper player. Again, not appreciated enough. Um, and then when Graham Stewart scored, he literally just it was almost like it was like magic because it it was passed to, it was a Cotty and it bounced off him. So
Yeah.
because it was came at him too fast, he just shot. It wasn't
Yeah.
planned.
He
He
just
just
stabbed
thought,
at it, didn't he?
yeah, because it came at him too fast.
Yeah.
Because he thought, well, if I try and control it, it'll come off me. So he whacked it, past it into the net, and you just the raw. I've never, because I had season ticket for all those years, and I've never ever been a moment like that. Never.
Yeah.
It was just one of literally. I'll never ever forget it. It's one of the greatest days of my life, and to sort of and he is one of the, for me, most iconic footballers for Everton ever
Yeah.
because of that day, and the cup final as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame he didn't score that goal, really, isn't it?
I
When he hit the bar,
know, I
because that would
know.
have but he did score the second goal in the
Yeah,
semi-final as well, which was
yeah,
crucial again.
yeah,
Funnily enough, Paul Rideout missed the shot that he should have scored. It to Ian Walker, and then he tapped the rebound. So
yeah. But I mean, but he was very much a team player, and it was nice to see Rideout get the goal for
yeah,
the Fat Cup final because I did like Paul Rideout.
he was a good player. Yeah,
And he was honest.
yeah,
Again, it's and a big thank you to Limpar really as well because he shouldn't have got that penalty.
oh, it was dodgy, wasn't it?
It
That's getting VAR now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have happened. That
Yeah,
penalty wouldn't have happened. But I mean, what a player he was. I know.
that was
I don't.
great.
I don't know what he was smoking when he did the handball, but my God, it was. He was a good player, and fortunately, he did make up for it with getting that penalty when he shouldn't have done. Really.
Yeah, he was brilliant. And
Yeah.
just on that game, that Wimbledon game as well. So when we played Palace the other year and we beat them 3-2, so I was there with me dad and the kids, and we were 2-0 down at half time, and it was very, very similar. There was like mistakes that had led to goals. There was an own goal, and I just turned to the kids and said, "It's a lot like Wimbledon." I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in the ground had said, "It's a lot like Wimbledon. We'll be all right here." And sure enough, mental,
You
absolutely
actually
mad.
said that?
Yeah, yeah. I said because it was like because of the way it had gone with the own
Yeah,
goal, I think, and the mistake
yeah.
was like, yeah, this is a lot like the Wimbledon game. This we were terrible in the first half. We'll be sound. Thankfully, we were.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean that's that is that is exactly the same
Yeah,
because when that Darwin header went in, you know,
the raw was unreal. Yeah, it was.
uh, I just. But why do they put us through this?
It would be nice if they just stopped getting in that position, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, completely, and hopefully we've turned a corner now. But you
Yeah,
know, I really hope we stay up this year. I really, really hope we do.
yeah. It feels like we've just got to get through this one, which brings us nicely on to your new, which is your favourite current player, who is
James Tarkowski,
yeah.
James Tarkowski. How'd you say it?
I think it's Tarkovsky. I think, although
Tark,
it might be Tarkov. I always say Tarkovsky.
whatever. Tarkowski. The
Yeah,
man, he's a great. He's been brilliant for us because I know he's been injured in the last month or so,
yeah.
and so he's been a bit. He was a bit dodgy for one or two games, which is not
He
like him.
he picked up an injury pre-season, and I don't think he got over it properly. I think he's been playing through that because you can tell he's dropped off this season, hasn't he?
Oh
From what
yeah,
his usual standard, like.
yeah. Well, because he couldn't go in for tackles. There
Mm.
was one where he was at the halfway line, and it was a classic. It was the classic. Hold on a minute, I can't go for this because of his ankle or whatever it is that's injured. So and he scored from that, sadly.
I think that was
Um,
United, wasn't it?
yeah, I think it was.
United
Yeah,
away. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And but he has been such an important player for us. He wins every header. I
Mm.
mean, he's to be honest, he should have been in England. He should have gone to the World Cup. What were they
Yeah.
smoking?
Now, my theory on this is, and people probably would have laughed at it, but I think when you've got last season, you had Pickford, Tarkovsky, and Branthwaite as a three who kept more clean sheets than anyone but Arsenal. Surely going into a big tournament, pick them. They play together every week. They've been shutting teams out every week, and only Jordan Pickford went. It was crazy.
Well, I'm not a fan. I don't like to be critical, but I'll never forgive Gareth Southgate twice. Not never mind, never forgive once. I'll never forgive twice. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's not about him. It's not. But I personally think, why would you not take Tarkowski and Branthwaite? Take the
Mm.
two of them. I totally agree with you, and because he wins every header, he 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 and he's just a brilliant. His timing for tackles is superb. He reads the game brilliantly, and also he's a leader.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing any team needs is a leader, and that's one of the things I want to say about Graham Stewart. That boy was a leader, and he led that day for the Wimbledon game.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Tarkovsky, he leads. He is a proper leader. He speaks to people and tells them what to do, which is absolutely crucial. And he's so important. He's really helped, I think, Pickford because he's given them that solidness.
Mm.
Because Pickford, again, so underrated because he's had people in front of him who've just, they're just like sometimes so surreal. This decision making that they do, and
Yeah.
and that takes its toll on the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He does far more than he needs to, but because he has to cover for the pitfalls in our defensive play.
Yeah.
And but thankfully for Tarkowski, he's made a massive difference. He's one of the best signings in the last.
A free signing as well. Got him for nothing
Just
as well.
what a player, and a great servant to the club. We are so lucky to have him. And if
Yeah.
and one of the reasons why we've stayed up the last 2 years or whatever how long he's been there.
And when you say leader as well, one thing I do like is when it all kicks off, he's the first in there.
Yeah,
It's always good to
yeah,
see.
yeah, and he looks like a proper human. A good man. No big ego. He just knows what he's doing. He's good at it, and he's not interested in. He's the real deal. I love him. I love him,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
hope the injury. He does become injury free, because we need him this year more than
Yeah,
ever.
we need him to have a good second half of the season, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll go on to your borrowed player then, which is a bold choice, this one, but I fully get it. Well, we had the lads on from the Good Times podcast, and Kev from that said Robbie Fowler,
Yeah.
which again, it's a controversial shout, but a great shout. But go on, I'll leave this one to you.
Now, I don't want a big piley on me here. I want to be forgiven, but the reason why I've chosen Luis Suarez is because the man was single-handedly, was literally was the best player for Liverpool and ran their team.
Yeah.
He takes things personally. Right, I remember watching him play for Uruguay, and I'm watching him thinking, who is that? Who is that player there? And because I'd never heard of him, and I bet you Kenny Dalglish was doing the exact same thing. He was saying,
Yeah.
who the hell is that?
Would that have been the 2014 World Cup, probably?
It was
Yeah.
the World Cup, and
Yeah.
it was like, who is that psycho? He just hasn't stopped running. He was brilliant. He literally was like, hold on a minute, I'm watching the World Cup there. This is where they all go on holiday and start like sort of, get the pina coladas out and start like old man football. This was like wild, full on death metal killer football. It was brilliant from Suarez, and obviously Kenny Dalglish thought, whoa, I'm having him. And because what I love about Suarez was he took things personally.
Yeah.
And that's what footballers need to do. That there's not enough footballers who do that. He's like, I'm having you. I'm winning this game.
He's the player everyone wants on the team, because every opposition fan hates him. But when a bit like Tim Coyle for us.
Yeah.
And when he's playing for you, you absolutely love him, and I can fully see that. It's like, and he was actually really, really good as well. Like,
he was
technically, he was outstanding.
And also, I have to say, I hate him because he wrecked Morales' season and injured him when we were doing. We needed. Morales was never the same after that.
Yeah, he broke his foot, didn't he? In that derby, he stood on his foot, broke his foot, and he tried to do Distan in the same game. Remember, he had a niggle at his Achilles.
Yeah, he was horrible.
Yeah.
However, but he took things personally, and he's like, I'm winning this game. And if only there were more footballers like that, because I'm telling you, one of the key things about being, well, what do I know? But from one of the key things about being a muso is you're saying, this is mine. This song is mine. I'm making this song mine. It's not. I'm having it. It's you nail it. Nail it. It's exactly the same with football.
It doesn't matter what level you've played either. So, like, we've played at our respective levels, and you've got to have that in that. So whether you're top of your game or you just like Sunday League, it's the same, isn't it?
You've got to have that edge, and there's hard. I see so many footballers playing within themselves,
Mm.
and I'm like, mate, see, I just wish because they need performers. God, it sounds funny me saying this, but if they had a performer in the dressing room saying, "Listen, mate, I can see you. I can look into your eyes. I know what performance is. I know it. It's not about language. I can see it, and
Yeah.
you're not performing. You're playing within yourself, and
I think that is one of the most frustrating things when you're watching professional football is that players are better than the account they give themselves on the pitch because they do play within themselves. So if you see like training videos, they're doing all kinds of skills, taking the piss out of each other. But when it comes to a match day, because there's so much pressure on, that goes and they become functional.
yeah,
Which if more players didn't do that and just played naturally, it'd be much better, wouldn't it?
yeah, but you need a risk taker.
Yeah,
So basically, you've got to say to them, I don't care how much you fuck up, you go for it. You know, it is really frustrating because I understand that the pressure is immense because to play, and to make a mistake,
yeah,
is massive. However, you've got to, you've that's I've not, to be honest, the risk taken. I've not really seen Everton be a risk taking team since probably Moyes at his height. Moyes
yeah.
at
There
his
was
height.
probably Roberto Martinez, I reckon, as well, first season, I think.
Yeah, well, Martinez though he had the foundation of
Yeah,
Moyes, but also he had Gareth Barry. I
yeah,
mean, what a player because he covered you with Gareth Barry in your team, and Jagielka. What a player he was. What a player again,
yeah.
so underrated.
I think Gareth Barry was a player whereby until he played for you, you didn't realise how good he was.
No,
Until you saw him playing for your team, he was incredible.
if we could have had him earlier, because in fact I would have kept him on longer.
Yeah,
You,
I think
you,
so.
I mean, again, what he was magnificent for us, Gareth Barry. And it sounds funny because he came to us at the end of his career, but the difference he made
Yeah,
to that side, again, a leader because he didn't say much, but he just did it.
yeah.
His presence just dominated. He dominated that midfield, and God, what you'd give for him now. What
I
you'd
know.
give for him. My God.
Fingers crossed we get back to getting players like that
Yeah,
with this new
yeah,
takeover.
yeah,
Just take it easy. Don't go mad with challenge. But yeah, just a couple of good players would be lovely in January.
yeah, yeah.
Right, we'll move on to the final one, which is the blue section, which is your favourite Evertonian or your favourite thing about Everton. Funnily enough, Paddy Boyland picked this person in the very first one of this show. So go ahead, over to you again, Pete.
Well, it's Jodie Comer, because she's a genius, and she's also blue.
Yeah,
And but like I did an album, I did a prog album called Anarchic Curves, and it's a concept album, and she's
the
in it.
ESP project.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
When
she
so just it was funny you said before that you love prog because when I listened to that I thought this is very proggy because it's about 9 minutes long I think the song isn't it
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
yeah
There's still Lives of John Lennon, but basically she's the main character in that concept album, and she probably doesn't even know. Well, she definitely won't know because I'm pretty sure she hates prog, but I don't really care. I don't really care. She's just such an amazing, you know, an amazing talent, really, and
yeah
and it's I, I think it's great to see so much young talent coming through, and and the fact that she is a blue means the world, really, because it's so easy to be a red, but to
yeah
be a blue, you've got to suffer.
Well, her dad was physio at Everton, wasn't he?
Right,
Her
cool.
dad was a physio at Everton, so
Right,
there's that actual club connection as well.
great. Well, that's even better, even
Yeah, it
better.
does. When you find out someone's a Blue, it does like they do appeal to you a little bit more, don't they? Sounds a terrible thing to say, but they do.
Well, no, because they've got to have, you see, that's the thing. To be a Blue, you've got to be so much more invested.
Yeah,
Because you've got to, it basically, it doesn't matter. It's like, whatever happens, you're gonna, you, I can't. It's that level of commitment's higher. It's higher. To be honest, and it galls me to say it, but Steven Gerrard showed it, and Jamie Carragher, bloody great, both great players. But Steven Gerrard showed it in in certain matches where, and Michael Owen, another Blue, in he.
Ian Rush, Robbie Fowler, you name it.
Ian Rush, Ian Rush. Again, these people, they showed it, and Robbie Fowler, yeah, they showed it in, they took it personally and they added that extra dimension that
Yeah,
made the difference. And that's what we've lost and not had so much of. And we need to get back to that. So that's what I liked about like we need to get players in who are Blue, and even if they're not Blue, they've got that personal dimension to them that, like, hold on a minute, I'm going to make a difference here.
yeah, that's what we need, isn't it? More players who're going to make it happen. Don't just let the game pass you by. Grab
No,
it by the scruff of the neck.
and take risks,
Yeah,
take serious risk, go for it. Because
yeah.
you remember that player that he was a great player, but Svens, the Swedish lad, and apparently he just didn't like footy. He
I've
was
always
out.
found that a weird one. Where it's just like just these people find they're really, really good at football, but actually don't like it.
Well, yeah, well, a lot of musos are like that. They, they
Okay.
they become jaded. They
Yeah.
just like, it's like they become like, I'm still like, I'm 18. I wanna, I wanna, I'm desperate. Give me a go. Give me a chance. And like, but a lot of football musos do become jaded and become kind of like, well, it becomes a job.
Yeah, that's it.
It's
Yeah,
like
when it becomes a job,
it's
yeah,
like civil servants, just doing a job,
yeah,
just doing it. It's not in the soul. And footy players, it needs to be life, or it needs to be really important in life.
yeah. And I think like just to bring it round to where we started, really, I think it's footballers and musicians are in a really privileged position where they can do stuff that genuinely impact and touch people's lives in a positive way,
Well,
and that's not something that should be forgotten, is it?
yeah, because really, I mean, I mean, okay, the wage packet of a footballer and the wage packet of a muso is like universe apart.
Yeah,
But to be honest, if you could play footy for Everton, are you looking at your wage packet? Well,
exactly.
and if you are looking at your wage packet, what are you smoking?
Yeah,
What are you smoking? Because you know what a gift. That's why, again, and Seamus Coleman. I know he's at the end of his career, but when he started, what a player, and what a man. You know
yeah.
what I mean? That boy is not looking at his wage packet.
No. And I think it's telling with him as well that
Yeah,
every manager, and we've had a lot in his time, I think he's seen about 10 managers, but every one of them has said what an amazing
yeah,
fella he is. And
yeah. And
it's nice to see.
it is, and he's a proper player. It's obviously we need a new right back, or hopefully Patson will come through. But we need to, if we could have a young version of Seamus, that would have been great, because he's been a brilliant player for us.
Yeah, 100%. We'll keep our fingers crossed for January then.
Totally.
Peter, thanks again for coming on.
Thank
Before
you.
we go, anything you want to plug? Obviously, you got the new single coming out in January. Just want to tell people where they can get your music, where they can buy it.
Uh, uh, don't even know if you can buy out. You can't buy my music anyway. It's all on
Is it
Spotify
just
and
streamed?
Apple
Yeah.
Music. It's
Okay.
all streamed. I don't do, but it's called Present Angels, and it's out in January the 17th. And I've got a couple of things in the pipeline that are coming through, but I'll never stop. But basically on Spotify and Peter Coyle Fractal, and you know, and yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it really.
I would urge everyone to go and give all Peter stuff a listen. Any gigs coming up next
Pleasure.
year?
Oh yeah, I've got 3 gigs in January in Bonalswick Music and Arts Centre. That's the 15th, 16th, and 17th of January. So I'll send you the link to them.
Keep us posted with all that.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm hoping there'll be more gigs next year. It's I'm looking for gigs are important because the presence and you can you can gigs are important, and the more I can do the better, but it's just harder and harder each year as a muso. But I'll keep going. I'm not giving up. Look at the pain in me eyes. I'm not giving up.
Good stuff. That is lovely to hear. Thanks, Pete. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks,
Really
Les.
appreciate it. Thanks to
Absolute
everyone
pleasure.
who watched and listened. We will catch you on the next Old New Borrowed Blue.
Brilliant. Thanks, Les. Take care.